Do you feel a little bit out of control in maybe an area or multiple areas of your life, and it's really knocking your confidence? Well, today I'm going to talk about confidence and control. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, I've had so many annoyances, frustrations, anger from just trying to like control things, being like, I've got to be in control, and all these kind of things, right? Both in personal and professional life. Like, I want it to go a certain way. Now, when I say control, it could be in different forms of different people. For me, it wasn't like trying to control people or anything like that. It was more of a case that I wanted a situation in personal professional life to go a certain way. So I've got to get that job. I've got to get that job, or this relationship's got to work, or whatever it was, right? And it caused a lot of impacts on my confidence and caused a lot of frustration because when I had like an expectation, I was like, right, it's got to go that way. I've got to do all these things to make sure that happens, and it doesn't happen, then it can actually hurt me quite a lot. And in particular, in the last couple of years, I've really learned to, and it's still a work in progress, a work in progress. I've really learned to be able to move myself a little bit away from control, right? And actually understand that sometimes life gives us like these bends in the rivers, and actually we've got to go with the flow. Now, it's about directing where we want to go. Like, I want to go that way, but sometimes you might have a plan in place and the plan doesn't go to plan, right? So therefore, I've always typically been like, oh, I've got to fight this, I've got to fight this. Life doesn't work like that. If you try and fight life, it usually wins. It always wins because it's life, right? Now, does that mean you give up and you don't do anything? No, of course not. I've had so many knockbacks, in my personal and professional life. And what I've learned is sometimes you get directed to something better, and actually letting go of that control can make a massive difference. Because when you feel like, okay, this has come up now, obviously there can be tragic things coming. And I'm not saying you're like, okay, that's happened, I'm just going to move on. No, of course not, right? There's going to be some real challenging events where you got to process it, like grievances. And that doesn't just mean the death of someone, that can mean the death of a situation as well, or circumstance, or an old identity. Sometimes that obviously there's things going to be working through. I'm talking about like if you're trying to fight everything, you're like trying to control things, and you're like, things have got to be a certain way, or else I'm going to get upset. Then you're going to be upset for most of your life, and that's what I've certainly realized, and I've been very, very guilty of this. We can't control anything except our intentions, and our intentions form our actions and thoughts. So ask yourself this: if you're someone who's like, oh, I don't feel like I'm in control, and you want to be more in control, you're like, things have got to go in a certain way. How's that helping you? Because for me personally, it's very stressful and very frustrating. And this is coming from someone who's got like a project management background, where you got certain deliverables. Projects never go 100% to plan, or like it's done sales. It's like, right, I've got to make this work. No, of course not. Some people are going to say no, right? Or even in my coaching business, like we've got to get this outcome. And of course, I can't control what the other person's going to think, what they're going to do, right? Not everyone's going to take action, and things are going to come to you generally spontaneous in life, right? So let's go through some practical points, because I can say like, yeah, let go of control and become more, build your confidence, because you've got that trust in yourself, and that's what confidence is. It's a trust in yourself. Yeah, you may be just like a bit stuck on how to do that. So I want to give you a few points that have personally worked for me. Well, the first one is just becoming aware of the fact, or reminding yourself very regularly that you have no control over anything. I can't remember the great spiritual teacher who said it, but the quote was, relax. Nothing is under control. And it's very true. Nothing's under control, right? If you're like in a workplace or a business environment, and someone's like, don't worry, we've got it under control. No, they haven't, right? They've just got things in a certain direction. They've got a plan, which is great. Anything could happen, right? Anything can happen in life. We can't control anything. That doesn't mean not caring. It just means if things show up unexpected, don't be so surprised, because that's life, right? And actually have confidence in your ability to handle uncertainty, anything that comes. The second thing is just remind yourself of when you've overcome a challenge, something that came out of you like, wow, I didn't see that. And actually you've overcome it, because often we're so like focused on the negatives and all the challenges and I've got to firefight all these things right now. We forget about all our progress. And when you start living, I found personally, when I start living in a stressful state and I'm just like firefighting everything, then it becomes quite like stressful, right? And also I forget the things I have overcome. When I remember and feel into it, not just intellectually thinking about it, but feeling in your body how great it felt to overcome challenges in the past, you're going to build a lot more confidence that when things are not as inverted commas in control, because they never are, then you're going to be able to handle it because you've handled things in the past. And then the third thing is, I learned this from one of my mentors, is have a plan B. Now, there's different debates in personal growth, so I'm just sharing my truth. There's a phrase that goes, burn your boats. And to some degree, I think that works in certain situations. However, I believe in not like necessarily you're settling for plan B. You don't want plan B. But if you're just like, right, say, for example, let's use an example. You were someone, and I've seen this gone badly. You were someone who wanted to start their own business and they quit their job, right? And yeah, things got a little bit tight and you didn't have any kind of backup plan or anything. It was just like, I'm going all in. I've got no plan. That is going to be very stressful in my view. And I've seen people really do badly off of it. I've also seen people quit their job and have a really good backup plan when it didn't go to plan and they had to use that. And they felt a lot more relaxed about it, for example, because they had like a different budget elsewhere. They had other opportunities they got involved in. Okay, so plan B, having a plan B for me really helps, because what that does, it takes the importance and pressure on something going and working, and actually allows you to let go of control. So, for example, if you're like, and again, it's not about we want plan B to happen. It's just knowing it's in the back pocket. So you want to, you're nervous about going and asking someone out. This is a very common one. Well, what's your plan B? Well, it would be to move on and find someone else. Now, it's not to say you're not going to hurt if they say no and things like that, but that's why generally I found in the past, I've like backed out from that kind of situation of talking to someone I like, or even just socially, like I was, nervous about like speaking to a group. You put too much importance on it. So having a plan B is really helpful. So like, if you don't get that job and you've got like so much pressure, like I've got to get this job, I've been in this boat. What's your plan B? Well, you apply for another job. And it's not about like, it doesn't matter. It's about you still care, but it just takes that pressure off a little bit. And that builds a bit more confidence in yourself because you've got options. So I'm going to go into my extra point as well today that I wanted to share with you. Just before I do that, I just wanted to mention that if you have any particular topics you would like me to cover in the podcast, I've had some requests, then just drop your answer in Q&A and I'll be able to address that in a future episode, depending on what it is. So my final bonus point for you as well is, now, again, like with anything I say and guidance I give, feel free to listen to it or not. Now, I'm a very left brain person. I wasn't so much into the science, spirituality side of like, the manifesting and like, all like, we're all like energy and all this kind of thing. And that's definitely changed in the last couple of years. So, believe what you want to. If you want to go a bit further, reading or listening to the books, a couple of books I'm going to recommend on like being able to let go of control and listen more to the universe and believe there's something higher. That's done massive wonders for me personally. I know there's different views and we've all got different views and we're entitled to all our different views. So again, I'm just sharing what I found effective. So there's a great book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about how we're like 99.999% like atoms and things like that, and being able to reduce some of the negative thoughts and energies within ourselves. so that actually you don't feel like you need the need for control so much. And another great book is Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein, who's a great spiritual teacher. And she talks about actually surrendering to things and not like trying to force an outcome. And that lets you let go of control a little bit and have more confidence in yourself and life in general as well. So those are two great books I'd recommend if you're open to learning more about the spiritual slash science side. Joe Dispenza's more on the science side than Gabby is, but they kind of can overlap a little bit. So the two books again are Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and Gabby's book is Super Attractor, and that's by Gabby Bernstein. So those are two other options you can have a look at. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.